Right, back again, making another video here. So a couple of updates, couple of things. If you haven't seen the previous video, I am now touring with the Savannah Bananas. If you don't know who they are, you can go look them up. I'm not putting links anywhere. Just go look them up. Amazing group, and I am touring as a manana, a dad bod cheerleader. So getting in my clowning as a 46-year-old man. So there I am. That's what I'm doing. It's a blast. It's such a good time. The group is incredible, so talented. There's like 250 of us that go on tour. We just got back from Clemson, which is unbelievable. Why am I wearing an Edmonton Oilers shirt? Well, also I work full time as well beyond doing comedy and all that stuff because I got a family to feed, and they're not cheap. So I work for a Canadian company that's based out of Edmonton. So now I'm an Edmonton Oilers fan. Go Oilers, even though I guess the Avalanche are still my number one team. Go Avalanche, but I live in South Florida. Go Panthers. And I'll cheer for anybody else that's a good story. Today's video that I want to provide to you it actually came up from my Savannah Bananas weekend where a few of the guys were in the locker room, just us getting ready to go out onto the field. And they were talking about getting paid for private gigs, getting paid for private sponsorships. They've got a big enough following to where they're going to promote particular products. And what I heard in the discussion was not a lot of set practice. And I think people are leaving money on the table, and I think they're creating unnecessary anxiety for themselves and also for their clients. So what I'd like to do is break this down into a handful of useful tips. I'm sure I'll ramble just like I do with all of these videos. But for whatever reason, I keep getting positive comments from you. So thank you for those. Keep those coming. Those feel good. I try to respond to those. That's incredible. So thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you for those. And thanks for following and, and watching and subscribing. I'm also on Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook, aggressively trying to build my Savannah Banana brand. But I'm only talking about stand-up comedy here through my YouTube channel. Okay. If you want to negotiate terms as an entertainer for any way to get paid for a service you're going to provide or some kind of gig that you're going to do, or if there's a product that you are selling on their behalf, there's this whimsical world that you dive into where you hope that based off of how big the project is, that you can just magically understand what their budget is for talent, and then you don't leave any money on the table because you figure, hey, if I get a phone call from Nike and I'm going to do a gig for Nike, that's like $1 million gig. And then, oh, but if you get a phone call from someone that's doing a private event and it's someone's birthday where there's only 5 or 6 people there, you're not going to make any money. And I'm here to tell you that I've done gigs for huge, big companies like AutoNation. I've done gigs for Wells Fargo. I've done gigs for PNC Bank. I've done gigs for Nike. I've done gigs for Domino's Pizza. And the fees that I've been paid across all those have varied wildly because within each one of these groups, there's smaller departments and smaller departments and smaller departments. And those departments have smaller and smaller and smaller budgets, or bigger and bigger and bigger budgets. So it is what it is. And after being in entertainment now for, 30 years, what I've really understood is what my value is, what my time is worth, what I'm willing to do something for, and where my standards are. And I think I've come to terms with being okay with that. There's a few checkdowns that I start with. So number one, if I get called for a gig, number one is, what's your budget? If they don't have a budget, I say thank you, but no thank you. You're going to get a lot of calls from people that are doing charity events, do-gooder events. And most of the time they mean well. And what they're trying to do is just pull on the heartstrings a little bit in hopes that they can get something for nothing to help raise money for a good cause. Because every dollar that they have to spend on talent or food or rooms or, whatever, is money that isn't going to the cause. However, there's a billion causes out in this world, and I already have mine that I donate my time and energy and love to. So I shouldn't feel obligated that every time I get a phone call from a different charity event that I should be contributing or giving my time and services away for that, because there is a value. that's attached to that. And I will tell you that the events or the charities that do not have a budget for talent are not very well organized, and chances are they aren't raising a lot of money or being all that successful. The ones that do have a budget, the ones that do understand the value of paying people for their times and services and goods, are doing a good job overall, raising a bunch of money and understanding that if they hire somebody like me, let's say for $2,000, that they're actually attaching the idea that my $2,000 fee will help them generate or justify an additional $20,000 in donations. Whereas if I'm not there, I take away $20,000 or $30,000 in value from their event. So I'm truly an investment. Where they have the event, they're having the event at a, dive bar back room that smells like smoke. That's not an event that's going to generate as much money as if you have it at the Dania Beach Improv that is beautiful and such a wonderful setup. Shout out to Renee Hart. You're just going to generate more money and you're going to get different clientele from there. Okay, so you have to determine whatever they're, so they tell you, hey, our budget for talent is $300. It's on you at this point to determine what your absolute floor is for doing gigs. Now, when you get started, and I've said this in videos before, take whatever. The experience is really what you're being paid in at that time, just getting the experience. In a very short period of time, that experience should immediately convert to getting something for your time and efforts. But in the beginning, do it for something. Do it for $10, $50, $60, whatever, that's fine. Do it for a meal. The experience is more important than the money. But within 3 to 6 to 9 months, you should be getting paid something. And so my floor is at a particular level, and I'm not going to share that because everyone's value is a little bit different depending on where they are in their life and their career. But you should just know that if I get a phone call and I'm being asked to do something, my budget is a floor of this. And if I hear that your budget is below that, then I'm going to say thanks, but no thanks. I'm not available. That's it. Okay, number 2. Number 1 is money. Number 2 is asking yourself, is this project so cool that it's going to help me in other ways that would benefit me? Exposure is a really bad word in the business, and that's not what I'm looking for. Exposure sells itself as the idea that you're in front of 50, 100, 200 people, and someone in that audience is going to magically pluck you out of it and make you a star, or someone in that audience is going to call you and book you for that gig. That never happens, ever. Not in my entire career has that ever happened. Has anybody been to a corporate event that I've been hired for and gone out of their way to come find me and say, I want to hire you based off of this? Has never happened. Okay? Has never happened. So don't kid yourself. And there aren't scouts anymore. We have the internet. Scouts could just scour the internet. They can look at people's social media. They look for who has the biggest following and they book people based off of following. Hardly about talent anymore. Okay. So is this thing really cool? Like, for example, the Savannah Bananas gig is the most unique, fun thing that I've ever done. It's a blast. It is such a good time. Do they pay me to be on the road? They do. They pay me to be on the road. But the gig is so unique and incredible and truly puts me out in front of more people that could be my fans, that build my following, that build my base, that allow me to grow in other ways as a professional entertainer. Hands down, great gig. There's a couple of production companies that I work with, one specifically that, and if he watches this video, he's going to know I'm a sucker. And they pay me to do things on film. But if Brave Man Media ever calls me to do something, I just do it. Because every single thing they put me in looks incredible, makes me look super cool, and it's unique. And I can put that on my social media. I can put that in my demo reels that I send out to people when I'm trying to book stuff. And I just look really good. Okay, so let's say the money isn't there. And let's say the gig isn't really necessarily moving you along in your career. It's not benefiting you in an intangible way. Number 3, are you in love with the person that's asking you to do it? Do you just love the person so much? Is it a friend of yours? Is it someone that you owe a favor to? Do it. Just do it. Ignore the money. Ignore the fact that it's probably a really shitty gig, but you're doing them a solid. And that's the way the world works. If it's not one of those 3 things, don't do the gig. But what I really want to discuss here, beyond everything else, is how to have that tough discussion to get the money that you want to get without ruining relationships. I think the toughest thing in any business is that a lot of times you are doing business with friends or family or friends of friends or family, and things can get awkward when money's involved very quickly. Because if you haven't trained your friends and your family on how to talk to potential referrals, you'll get people in your life that'll say things to other people going, oh, you know what? Casey's a good friend. He'll give you a good deal. You don't want that. You don't want that referral, because now they're making it sound like you're going to be cheap. And you don't want that conversation. What you want is to train your friends and family, if they're giving you referrals, to say, you know, Casey's a comedian. Casey's an improviser. Casey's an actor. And he's great. I should connect you with him. That's all I want. So over the years, you have to learn to train people. So if those are the things that they're saying, to train that out. Now, the way to take out the awkwardness of negotiating with friends and family or friends of friends and family is to get yourself a manager. And you say, but Casey, I don't want to pay somebody else. I'm not big enough to pay somebody else. That's okay. You don't have to pay somebody else. Just get a friend to be your manager, preferably somebody else that's in the industry. At Sick Puppies Comedy, every single person in my cast has been instructed that if you don't want to negotiate your own fee, have them call me. Because now the conversation is very simple. When you get approached by a friend or family member and they say, hey, how much would you charge to do this birthday party? How much would you charge to be in this show? How much? You say, it's a great question. You know, I'm actually managed by Sick Puppies Comedy. You can reach out and talk to Casey Casperson. And they give them my contact information, and they immediately call me after that combo. And they say, hey, Casey, here's the deal. Here's the details that are in the gig. It's something that I do want to do. And then we talk about how much they would like to make on the gig and if it makes sense. And then when I get the phone call, I have that discussion. I become the bad guy and I remove them from the scenario, and it makes them look so much more professional when you have a manager. It's like, oh my God, that's like they've made it. You've got a manager. So I have a couple of people in my life, if I'm not comfortable negotiating something, to just give it to them. Over the years, I pretty much just negotiate all my stuff, but I do have an actual agent that I have them negotiate things for on my behalf when I find it necessary. But I'm perfectly comfortable at this point, after being in this industry for a very long time, of just turning people down. And because I've had these interactions with friends and family for so many over the years, I don't mind having the awkward. It's not awkward anymore. So how do you handle that conversation if you're discussing it for yourself versus if you are someone's manager? So I think it's the same conversation, and it goes like this. The phone rings, they talk about the gig, and you say, great, what's the date? Get the date right away. If you're taken, stop talking about the gig. Move along. Great, you're available. Number 2, what's the budget? I talked about at the top of the video, I used to ask about budget to see how much money I could get. That's not really what the deal is. What you're looking for in asking that question is, do they have anything in mind whatsoever to pay? And if they do, they'll tell you. And they'll typically lie, but they'll tell you something. Yeah, we've got a budget of $250. Okay, well, let's say my floor is $1,000 for any gig, for any amount of time, for any travel, for any distance. Let's say that's my floor. It's $1,000. I'll say, well, thank you very much. Unfortunately, I wouldn't be available for that. And they'll ask you, what is your fee? And then you tell them, you know, the minimum is $1,000. And what you get with that is X, Y, and Z. And so for me, I can say, yeah, for a minimum, it's $1,000. It has to be local. And you'll get 30 minutes or less out of me from a performance. You'll get up to 2 hours total if you're looking for me to be a part of a bigger show to where you need me to come in and MC or host. And if it's anything beyond that, then my price begins to go up if I'm required to do any additional rehearsals, if I'm required to do any kind of writing, if I have to recruit other people, I have to train others, if there's any kind of choreography, if there's any kind of video editing, if there's any kind of promoting that's ahead of time. These are all things that you have to get out of the way, because once you go into contract with somebody, they're going to come back to you and start to ask for more stuff if you haven't specifically called out that this is the thing that you're paying me for. I think one of the biggest things that people miss when they're negotiating for themselves to get booked or to get contracts, they think that they're doing themselves a favor and they're doing somebody else a favor by offering them a discount or doing something for free. And what you're really telling that person is, I don't value myself, and therefore you're going to be able to walk on me. So at the very beginning of my career, I would do stuff for free. And then they would call and they'd be like, hey, can you do this other thing? Like, can you film this video? Can you do this promo? Can you send me some stuff? Can you write up a bio? Can you curate this thing for me? And I would do it because I felt needed and I felt wanted and I felt loved. And really, I was just being disrespected. Because up front, if I had put into a contract saying that for a fee of, let's say, $5,000, what you're going to get from me is 3 rehearsals at this amount of time. This is my availability for those rehearsals. You're going to get me for a show that's on this date to where I will show up at this time, and then I will leave at this time. If there's any movement or cancellation, there are fees that are associated with that. There's a deposit that I require. So typically when I write a contract to secure me for a particular date, I require 50% down, and I tell them that on the phone. So if the fee is a $15,000 fee, you owe me $7,500 at that time to secure that date. Certainly negotiable if someone's not comfortable with that and they want to give me a smaller deposit. I'm happy to talk them through that. But once we agree on that, we secure that date. I send you a link through Square. So I use Square, I use their invoices, and all I put in my contract is just all of my terms in the contract there, very well laid out. I leverage Gemini now. Gemini is a huge tool through Google, which is an AI, where I can drop all my requirements in there, and then Gemini can write it out in such a way that makes sense, that it's crystal clear to both parties. If you're paying me a deposit, to me, that's as good as a signature. I've never had to take a legal process with somebody at this point. It may burn me in the end, where maybe I should be getting a signature. I don't. And then 7 days before the event, I send out another invoice for the total amount to be paid in full. So I'm paid in full 7 days before I show up to an event. If the event gets canceled or moved, I have all the money at this point. And then I put in the contract that even, and this is just for my preference, that if the event cancels or is postponed, I will keep half of that money if you've paid me in full, and the other half can be applied to whatever a future date is. If you cancel the event, so let's say you pay me a deposit, but you cancel the event more than 7 days away from the event, I don't refund that money, but all $2,500 can be applied to the future event. So if you have a future event, or if you'd like it as credits towards classes, I give all those types of things as well. So I try to be extremely fair, but it's so important to get people to have skin in the game. So if people are reluctant to give you a deposit, if people are reluctant to pay you at all, if people are reluctant to pay you 7 days before a gig is due, you run from the gig. That's what you do. You run away. So I hope this is helpful. Do a check down. Number one, how much money does it pay? If it doesn't fit into what your minimums are, is it really cool? Is it something that's going to help you in an intangible way? And then number three, if it doesn't do those first two things, do you love the person? Are you passionate about the person? Are you passionate about the project behind it, even though the project isn't going to be very good? It's not going to advance you and you're not going to make any money. If you're not comfortable negotiating on your terms, especially if it's a friend or a family member or a friend of a friend, you can certainly just claim, yep, I just have all my business go through my manager. And then you have them reach out to somebody else. And if it's a friend, they're not going to take a fee. I used to manage talent back in the day, but it used to require a lot of work. And yeah, I would charge a 10% management fee on anything that they collected. But we did that up front. And that's certainly not something that I'm offering here. So don't ask me to be a manager. No thanks. Not interested in that. Otherwise, that's what I have going on right now. If you have any questions, concerns, stories of your own, videos that you would like to see, put them in the comments. I'll post them.